today, 12th of November. Could I just and welcome members of the public and media and our fellow officers and councillors. Councillor Truman, would you be good enough just to say karakia, please?
I te atua kaharawa kia tata mai koe kia mātou I tēnei rā. Manakitia mātou mahi katoa I rongo I te ingoa o te matua o te tama o te wairua tapu. Ake ake
Amen. Thank you, Councillor Truman. Okay. Item number 1 is the minutes. There are no apologies. We're all here. Set for action. Item number 1 is the minutes for the last meeting, which was held on the 29th of October 2013 at 1 o'clock. Are there any points of clarification or any typos or anything that needs to be attended to those, please? Councillor Boddy.
Your Worship, in regards to that meeting on the 29th, there was a couple of clauses in the standing orders. One was to do with numbers at meetings and quorums, etc. I noticed that the minutes have come back and item 2.43 has been addressed, and then also has item 3.14.1. However, that also included 2.51, which doesn't seem to be in the new minutes. It just might be something that was left out. Just clarification.
Make a note of that. Yep. Okay, thank you. Any other clarifications? Okay, can I
just a query, Your Worship. On page 1/4, under item 6, the second paragraph, where the CEO noted that one of the items, the LTP issue, and the staff were currently preparing information for the workshop. I raised the issue about the CV and LV situation for community purposes. I'm sincerely hoping that that can be dealt with under the annual plan process and not have to wait for the long-term process, because that's not until mid-next year, well, 14-15. So I'd like some clarification from either the CEO or the officers that it can be done under an annual plan process.
Thank you.
Through the chair, the issue at this stage is just a general discussion in respect to CVLV. We will go through aspects through the workshop. It's only if council wishes to make a decision that will move the rating basis, will there need to be a amendment to the long-term plan or something of that nature. But at this stage, all it is a investigation of what the options are for council, and you will be advised as to the impact of the revaluation in respect to the different sectors from a capital value basis and from a land value basis. And should there be a need for a decision to be made, then there will be a formal process that will have to be followed.
Thank you. That gives me some comfort that at least we are open to discuss that issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Point of clarification, Your Honour, Your Worship, just on that very point. So effectively, as the document here says from local government, it can be altered. That's a long-term plan, but that would be part of the annual plan process.
It will require a process in conjunction with the annual plan, which will relate to an amendment to the long-term plan. But it's a separate process, amendment to the long-term plan, than the annual plan process.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Mr. Van Hemond, any other queries, clarifications on the minutes? Could I have a mover for those minutes, please? Moved Councillor Park, seconded by Councillor Stewart. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Item number 2. policy on appointment and remuneration of directors. Okay. Should we defer number 2?
Until comes back with the information.
Okay.
Could take this one if you wanted, as it's a standalone in terms of the policy.
Okay. Well, was Helen going to talk to the policy, was she?
Yes, she's going to do that.
Okay, so we'll just defer that at the moment. So item number 3.
So if we go through, Your Worship, and maybe move on to the licences, items through to 6 are all just being reviewed and worked on at the moment. So item number 7.
Okay, so we've come quite quickly there. Is that all right? So number 7. So renewal of lease to the Taupo Citizen Silver Band, Pickling Park Reserve. Alison.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Councillors. My name is Alison Rawley, for those of you who don't know me. I work in our Parks and Open Spaces Department. My role is Parks Asset Manager. And this is Ella Howie, she's our Land Management Officer, dealing mainly with management of reserve lands. Now, I think we have a brief slot in a workshop next week where we'll be going through with you some of the technicalities of the Reserves Act. But in the meantime, we have a few items that we would like you to consider and make decisions on. So Ella will go through those with you.
Thanks, Alison.
Thanks,
Hi.
Ella.
Hi, everyone. So the first agenda item here is on the new lease to the Taupo Citizen Silver Band, and this is a relatively straightforward procedural matter. Currently, officers do not have the delegated authority to grant leases under the Reserves Act, so it will require a decision from you today. 5 of the other club-run facilities on the Hickling Park community building area have already been renewed to the common expiry date of the 31st of December 2019. So we're proposing that this one is also renewed to that common expiry date. This particular arrangement is somewhat unusual in that it has a sublease arrangement, but that sublease arrangement is working well for all parties. It's consistent with the Reserves Act. The purpose of the reserve, which is community buildings, both the parent centre and the Silver Band work for the community and provide community services. And the sublease arrangement has previously been agreed to by council. So I'll take the report as being read, and I will be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Ella. Any, Councillor
We
Craig?
take it from this Taupo Silver Band has been disbanded, or what? Hasn't it? Still in operation, is it? Yeah, but they're just subleasing this.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Ella? All good. I think everyone's pretty reasonably happy with that. Do we have a suggested resolution there? Could I ask for a mover of that resolution, please? Councillor Craig, seconded by Councillor Cousins. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carry. Thanks, Ella. Item number 8.
So again, under the Reserves Act, we require a decision from council to grant the proposed licences. I will take the report as being read and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Sure. So we've got 4 applications there. Have you got any questions on these applications? I think there's a couple of benches there that are encouraging young children's activities, which is sorely needed in the district, I feel. So I'm certainly confident that these concessions will be well used and people will participate. So, Councillor Craig.
The Chair, Your Worship, this may not be related, but in the case of granting a concession to someone to trade as a particular organisation, I'm referring here like to the fireworks display and they go and use contractors outside of our town. I'm getting complaints from some of our ratepayers that is this a fair deal to our local people? Is that not an issue to discuss now or not? No, fair enough.
Your Worship, I just have a question for the ladies. I noticed that the granting of these licences is subject to also a granting of a licence from the Tūwhare Toa Māori Trust Board. Just to clarify, these licences won't be effective unless they also get that licence from Tūwhare Toa. Is that correct?
Yes, our position is that we won't grant the licences until we see evidence of licence from the trust. They are currently issuing those licences.
They are currently issuing them. Okay. No,
the licence just covers the activity on the reserve, not on the water, but we still like to work in partnership.
I just wanted to make sure that we were facilitating where we could to help these two parties align up, because obviously some of these operators want to start quite soon, and it would be a shame to see any of that held up. So that's all on track for the Tūwhare Toa Trust Board.
They have their own processes, but they are working through those processes. Yes.
One of the applicants has had a meeting with the trust and we to follow up on how that's gone, and the other one's in the process of
Well, just picking up on Councillor Jolin's point of so will you advise the Tūwhare Toa Board that these licences have been, was that up to the applicants?
We can advise them.
I would certainly suggest that, because then that means that things need to happen. Obviously, summer is approaching quickly. And would the normal case of events be that they would approve it first and then come to you guys, or?
That is the way that we would prefer to work, because generally where the activity is happening on the surface of the water, we don't really like to be in a position where we're granting a licence for a support activity, if you like, which is generally the tent and the ticket sales on the land, without evidence that Tūwhare Toa Māori Trust Board have actually approved the main activity, which is on the water. But because of the lack of time leading up to summer, we're really trying to facilitate this process as much as we can.
To take David's, his worship's point, it would be great if, I know it's not council's responsibility to negotiate contracts, but obviously anything we can do to help to make the process a lot more smoother, I think should be done.
Yeah, in communication with them around these applications, and we'll make up as much as I can to get the licences approved.
That's great. Thank you, Ella.
Councillor Hickling.
The Wet and Wild slide on the amphitheatre, is the reserve staff comfortable that, I'm just a bit concerned there might be damage on the reserve, particularly these water slides. They can just scorch the grass up pretty quickly, and we've got the summer what do we call it? The summer concert going in there just after that. So I know it's only there for 7 days, but
I guess, Mr. Chairman, I'll probably answer that. We had the same thing last year, so the same activity occurred there last year, and our team were incredibly happy with the outcome.
I thought it was a new one.
No, this is the second one.
It's very successful.
There will be a special condition if the grounds are unsuitable because of flooding or weather, we can cancel them.
Okay. Councillor Park.
Can I move suggested resolutions number 1 through 5?
Mover. Do I have a seconder? Seconder, Councillor Jollins.
Your worship, clarification. Are they all subject to the trust board? Two aren't.
Yeah, two aren't.
So
it's only if it's using the lake, which is freehold to land. Anything like the what we just talked about, the wet and wild slides, that's freehold council reserve, so doesn't need to go to approval.
So mover, Councillor Park, seconder, Councillor Jollins. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Item number 9. County Depot Site Reserve Licence for Children's Birthday Picnic Parties. Exciting stuff.
So in addition to this report, John's just distributed a map plan showing the lease agreed area for the hospice trust, and as you can see on that map, this proposed activity won't encroach on that proposed leased area. And the granting of this licence also requires a decision from council, which cannot be delegated to the officer.
So Sebring,
Your Worship, sorry, I just have one more question, Ella. Just in terms of the hospice and what Georgie Ferris would like to do, I know they're adjacent to each other. Do we have an indication of when the hospice will start construction? Because obviously that would affect her ability to ride horses at the time. So do we know what's happening in terms of timings on that?
We met with them yesterday, and they indicated around 2 years away.
Oh, so and this is only for a year. Yeah. Okay. I just thought in terms of good neighbourly relations, it was probably worth making sure those two didn't clash. So they won't. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so the answer to all children's picnic parties is right up there. Do we have any other comment? Councillor Hicking?
I just have a few concerns about this site, Your Worship. We're getting it really compromised because we've got now the electric motor cars in that corner. You can just see the track around through there. And now we've got this one through on the other side there. Previous council was sort of fairly protective of the front of this site. I wouldn't like to see any right of renewal, and I'm really not too happy about a 4 years license. I would have liked to have seen a 6 months license and see how it worked first, personally. Just because I think that site needs a little bit more protection, because once we've licensed these areas, they seem as though they become more permanent, and I wouldn't like to see a permanent operation on that site.
I would suggest it's only a fair weather activity there. Appreciate your concerns, Gaz, but I would say there wouldn't be too much participation in the winter.
I wouldn't think so.
No, but what does council feel is, I think a year is pretty minimal anyway, really. Councillor Craig?
Can I just clarify, whereabouts does the bike park that we've already granted permission happen to go on this map here? Alison, is it further down? Oh, it's down on that part there. Okay, yeah. So that, yeah. That's on the clear opening a bit between the road and the machine. Thank you, Alison.
On page 2 of item 9, there is discussion, and it's got special conditions, and they will probably counter anything that Councillor Hickling has a concern over. Paragraph under discussion.
Cleaning up after the ponies.
And different tracks.
They are very small ponies too.
Sorry. Oh, sorry, Councillor Park.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I just had some queries around them being used for children's birthday parties and events, and apart from the pony rides and the bouncy castles, I think it's a great idea. But what about toilet facilities, eating facilities? Because usually birthday parties consist of lots of kids and food and drink and lots of toilet stops and the rest. So I just wonder how it's going to work logistically for Georgie Ferris.
That was one of her main concerns, having an appropriate toilet facility. And I believe we'll be giving her a key to one of the toilet facilities on site.
Right. So the toilet facility would be quite some distance from there, though, wouldn't it?
No, it's just adjacent to the licence area.
Oh, okay.
It's just above the Nookies gym.
Oh, is there a toilet? Okay, so there are toilets in there, are they?
It's not a public toilet block. It's not open all of the time.
and is available.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment, Councillor, because it's quite hard to explain to kids where the toilet is. I suppose they have to go sort of for a semi-industrial site to get the toilet, but obviously in your operation agreement with them, it has been noted by the council that to make sure that's all done properly.
Just further to that, Your Worship, just in regards to that, if it's adjacent, is that industrial site, are there people working at that on a daily basis? Like, is it an appropriate area to have young children walking through to use the toilet facility? Is it safe?
I would say they probably need to be accompanied, but it wouldn't be unsafe.
I hope so. Yeah. But like from an industrial point of view, is it a safe area for
It's not
people,
used for any
like,
industrial.
under OSH regulations and.
It's not used for any industrial activities at present. It is occupied at various times by licensees who use the buildings for storage, and the main one that would affect that end of the yard would be the fruit and veggie licensee who has their stall at the front of the yard but uses the sheds at the back of the yard for storage.
I've just got a few safety concerns as a parent, but I think it's a great idea in principle.
So that can just be noted to Georgie that that make sure that's part of it. Otherwise, okay, there's a suggested resolution there. Any other commentary? Could I have a mover for that, please? Councillor Truman. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Stewart. All those in favour? Aye. All right. Those against? Carried. Go back to 2. Okay, we go back to